welcome to South Asia Today, a show that provides you the glimpses of South Asia. I'm your host, Shivangi Mishra. Let's begin with the headlines first. Buddha's birthplace Lumbini witnesses huge tourist footfall post-pandemic. Former employees protest against Pakistan-occupied Jammu Kashmir administration, demand an immediate release of pensions. And Indian fashion industry radiates tradition and innovation on global stage. Let's begin the show. A delegation from the US Congress held a historic meeting with the Dalai Lama at his residence in Dharamshala, India, amidst international scrutiny over China's Tibet policies. This meeting followed the recent passage of the Tibet Resolve Bill in the US House of Representatives, spearheaded by Texas Republican Michael McCaul. The bill addresses the China-Tibet issue and aims to resolve the dispute over Tibet's status and governance. During the meeting, McCaul reaffirmed his strong commitment to democracy, delivering a poignant statement reflecting the essence of their discussions. We have a report.
A US Congressional delegation met the Dalai Lama in a landmark event amid increased global attention on China's Tibet policies. The meeting occurred at the Dalai Lama's residence in India's Dharamshala following the recent approval of the Tibet Resolve Bill by the US House of Representatives. Michael McCaul, a Republican from Texas and the primary advocate of the Tibet Resolve Bill, which addressed the China-Tibet issue and aims to resolve the dispute over Tibet's status and governance, reiterated his strong support for democracy during the discussions. He delivered a powerful statement criticizing the Chinese president and asserting that choosing dictatorship equates to forfeiting freedom.
For the Dalai Lama knows that this is not true, that Tibet is part of China. And the people of Tibet know that that is not true.
Chairman Xi is wrong, because democracy is the best form of government, because it gives power to the people. If all you want is a decision to be made like that, you're giving up your freedom in exchange for a dictatorship. That's why democracy is the best form of government. That's why Chairman Xi is wrong.
Tibetans are eagerly waiting for US President Joe Biden to sign the Tibet Resolve Bill and present the biggest gift to the Dalai Lama. The bill calls on Beijing to resume dialogue with the Dalai Lama, the spiritual leader of Tibet, and other Tibetan leaders about how Tibet is governed. President of Tibet, Penpa Tsering, emphasized the importance of countering China's propaganda and reaffirmed Tibetans' views of their homeland as an occupied nation, stressing the urgency for a change.
China's propaganda is so pervasive and also because of their position as the second largest economy in the world. Even before that, also they have political power, they have military power, all because of their economic power, and they force other countries to say that Tibet is part of People's Republic of China, whereas Tibet is an occupied nation. So this narrative of China has to be changed. That is why the reason why we went for this position is, one, to change a clear message to China that you cannot change history, because history is in the past. The government, just because of their whims and fancies, cannot change history. And the second message is to the international community that you just cannot repeat what Chinese government wants them to say. You just cannot parrot.
These developments underscore a growing international consensus on supporting Tibet's autonomy and cultural heritage amidst challenges posed by China's economic and political influence. The global community awaits US President Joe Biden's decision on signing the Tibet Resolve Bill, seen as a pivotal step towards affirming these principles and supporting the Tibetan cause on the world stage.
The Indian fashion industry is ready to shine worldwide, showcasing its rich heritage and modern style. Top designers are achieving fame globally by blending traditional techniques with new ideas. See how Indian fashion is mixing tradition with today's trends, putting our designers in the global spotlight. India shines in the global fashion scene with vibrant colors, intricate embroideries, and a rich textile heritage. The thriving Indian fashion industry captivates audiences worldwide with its mesmerizing collections built on heritage but ever evolving and consequently leaving a mark on the global stage. Notable Indian designers like Rahul Mishra blend traditional techniques with modern aesthetics, gaining international acclaim and gracing the runways of fashion capitals. Mishra's innovative designs are celebrated in global fashion magazines and worn by international celebrities at prominent events worldwide, including the Met Gala and Cannes Film Festival.
As a brand, it has been almost like 10 years for us to showcase. And we have done Paris Fashion Week ready-to-wear collection since 2014, and then since after our Woolmark Prize win, and then we are doing now this 10th season for us to do Haute Couture Week, which started from 2020 January. So I would really say, like, if I was not from India, nothing would have been possible. I think every part of the brand or everything what we do today is because of the beautiful craftsmanship or thousands of skilled people who work towards it. Although, the brand is not just my personal brand, I always say this. It's almost like a community brand, which is created by a community of artisans, people who work on it.
With the increasing demand globally, many Indian designers are set to shine on the world's runways. Amit Agrawal is celebrated for his innovative designs, blending traditional craftsmanship with modern techniques. His collections debut at prestigious events like India Couture Week and Lakme Fashion Week, featuring elaborate gowns, lehengas and saris. The meticulous work invested in each garment is no surprise to those familiar with the Indian fashion industry.
I think for me the most important aspect of showing something internationally is that it's still rooted in India. The crafts, the skill set that we have, and the materials that we use and the fabrics that we create. But I also feel what's very important for me is that for me India is not just about traditional craftsmanship. India is as much a forerunner in thinking out of the box, creating something relevant and new in modern times. And I think my work is a representation of what India truly represents, the culture that it has and it has been today.
The haute couture sector, known for its exclusive high-end garments, has seen notable growth. Indian designers are gaining recognition in haute couture, benefiting from India's robust textile and apparel industry. The Fashion Design Council of India, FDCI, nurtures talent, offers platform for showcasing work, and promotes India's rich fashion heritage globally.
India is the flavor all over the world in so many different things, but where it comes to fashion, this is a very recent change that we are seeing. And I, for one, am really proud that this change is taking place. For example, our people are now regularly taking part in not only in different fashion weeks around the world, they are also taking part in various trade shows, be it in Paris, be it in London, be it in Milan, or even in New York or Los Angeles for that matter. So I am happy that a very wide spectrum of people are going all over from India and we are suddenly we've become more prominent as a nation of designers who are participating.
Indian designers are making waves globally, infusing their culture into international platforms. From New York to Paris, London to Milan, the fusion of tradition and modernity in Indian fashion captivates audiences and critics. With India's robust economic foundation and growing middle class, the fashion industry is poised to become more organized and profitable. Now we take a look at some happenings in Asia in a segment called Asia Watch.
Heavy rainfall near Bangladesh's northeastern border with India has caused flooding in the Sylhet division. Drone footage from local media showed large fields and villages inundated this week as the continuous rainfall caused the water level of the Sukma River, which passes through Sylhet, to rise, flooding surrounding areas. People were seen wading through knee-deep water in Sylhet on Tuesday, as over 370,000 people were reportedly stranded in the rural areas, according to the district administration authority. South Koreans expressed concerns after their neighbor North Korea signed a mutual defense pact with Russia. Russian President Vladimir Putin and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un signed a comprehensive strategic partnership pact, which Putin said included a mutual defense clause in the case of aggression against either country. The pact was one of Russia's most significant moves in Asia for years that Kim said amounted to an alliance. Seoul resident Lee Kyun-hyung said the new defense pact has increased possibility of war breaking out on the peninsula, while another Park Jin-gyong worried about more provocation from the north. On his first visit to Pyongyang since July 2000, Putin explicitly linked Russia's deepening of ties with North Korea to the West's growing support for Ukraine and said Moscow could develop military and technical cooperation with Pyongyang. Thousands of Colombian teachers and their supporters marched in Bogota against an education reform that is underway in Congress. The protesters claimed the planned reform would undermine teachers' rights and integrity of the public education system. The Take of Bogota strike, led by the major teachers union FICOD, walked to the Congress building in the Bolivar Square as teachers and protesters held Colombian flags and banners opposing the bill. FICOD claimed in a statement senators included amendments to the bill they originally agreed with the government, undermining public education by privatizing it and eliminate preschool grades from the public system, among others. The union initiated a national strike on June 12, calling for the government to halt the legislative process of the bill. Education is part of an ambitious set of reforms President Gustavo Petro pledged to push during his term, along with retirement pensions, healthcare and labor. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi marked the International Day of Yoga by performing yoga exercises in Jammu and Kashmir's capital city of Srinagar. He performed breathing exercises and meditation at the Sher-e-Kashmir International Conference Centre with some locals. Many others gathered near the iconic Dal Lake to mark the event.
आज दुनिया एक नई योग इकोनॉमी को आगे बढ़ने में देख रही है। आप देखिए, भारत में ऋषिकेश, काशी से लेकर केरला तक योग टूरिज्म का नया ट्रेंड देखने को मिल रहा है। दुनिया भर से टूरिस्ट इसलिए भारत आ रहे हैं क्योंकि उन्हें भारत में ऑथेंटिक योग सीख रहा है।
Originating in India, yoga includes exercises, postures and meditation aimed at achieving physical, mental and spiritual well-being. The United Nations declared June 21 as the International Day of Yoga in 2014 after it adopted a measure proposed by Modi.
Scores of former government employees and pensioners in Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir held a sit-in protest demanding a raise in their pensions and salaries amid soaring inflation. Protesters demand release of funds from the administration, emphasizing their legal entitlements. They decried bureaucratic delays and accused Pakistan of diverting resources from the illegally occupied territories to cover their economic losses.
Scores of former government employees and pensioners in Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir held a sit-in protest recently to demand a raise in their pensions and salaries from the Pakistan government. The protesters lamented it has become difficult to manage household expenses amid soaring inflation, but Islamabad has remained apathetic towards their plight. They said they have held several demonstrations over the past 1 year, but no official has come forward to even hear their pleas.
ये बात हकीकत पे मबनी है कि वज़ीर आज़म आज़ाद कश्मीर अपनी तरफ से कुछ ऐलान नहीं कर सकते। ये जो मुराद पेंशन की हुकूमत पाकिस्तान ने दे दी और उनका बजट इनको दे दिया गया है, उसके लिए मैं सदीक शाह साहब से, अपने जनरल सेक्रेटरी फरमान साहब से और रमज़ान मुगल साहब से ये गुजारिश करना चाहता हूँ कि 5 वज़रा कल आपके कल इजलास में आए थे, आप उनके पास जाएँ, उन्हें कहें कि ये हमारे बुज़ुर्गों को जो पैसे हैं इनको फौरी तौर पर रिलीज़ किया जाए। और दूसरी बात जो इन्होंने लिखी है कि अगर पेंशनर फौत हो जाता है तो उसकी पेंशन उसकी बेवा बेटी को दी जाती है, उसकी बहू को ट्रांसफ़र की जाती है, उसको बेवा को की जाती है। ये कानून है, इस्लामी जमहूरिया पाकिस्तान का कानून है, उसी के तहत आज़ाद जम्मू कश्मीर रियासत में तमाम पेंशनर और कानून है, तो ये उनको ट्रांसफ़र होनी चाहिए। अगर ये यहाँ पे नहीं हो रही, ये हमारे बुज़ुर्गों का मुतालबा है, तो फौरी तौर पर आज़ाद कश्मीर जम्मू रियासत को इस पर अमल दरामद करवाना चाहिए।
The protesters also demanded implementation of a law that in case a pensioner passes away, his pension should be transferred to his widow or daughter. They decried the bureaucratic blockade that has led to a delay in addressing their demands.
आज जो जिस अफसर को बात करो तो एकदम मतलब वो दम दबाकर भागने की कोशिश करेगा, वो ये कहता है कि बस मुझसे कोई ना पूछ रहे, मैं किसी को कुछ ना बता दूं। ये अब ये सूरत हाल जो हमारे सामने इस वक्त हम देखो, रोडों पर बैठे हुए बूढ़े बैठे हुए हैं, हमें दुनिया गुजरने वाली देख रही है, हमारे कुरानों को ये याद नहीं आ रहा, ये ख्याल नहीं आ रहा यार, इनको सुनने से ये कहते क्या है। अगर इनकी बात जायज़ है इसको की जाए, अगर इनकी बात नाजायज़ है इनको मुतमिन किया जाए, बाबा ये आपका मामला दुरुस्त नहीं है, इसको इस तरह दुरुस्त करें।
The protesters blamed instead of providing any aid to the people in the backward region. Economic losses faced by Pakistan due to policy paralysis are also being compensated from territories under its illegal control.
Moving on. The Maya Devi temple in Lumbini, the birthplace of Lord Buddha, is bustling with tourists once again after witnessing a lull for 2 years due to the pandemic. This UNESCO World Heritage Site, located in the southern plains of Nepal, is seeing a resurgence in religious tourism, restoring its status as a global spiritual destination. The present-day temple, reconstructed in 2003 by the Lumbini Development Trust, continues to captivate visitors with its historical and cultural significance.
Tourists have once again started to throng the Maya Devi temple in Nepal's Lumbini, the birthplace of Gautam Buddha, after 2 silent years prompted by the COVID-19 pandemic. The UNESCO World Heritage Site, nestled in the southern plains of Nepal, is gradually regaining its allure as religious tourism picks up. The present-day Maya Devi temple was rebuilt in 2003 by the Lumbini Development Trust. As per the authorities, 19,360 Indian tourists visited the UNESCO-listed World Heritage Site in January 2024, followed by 20,489 in February and 30,670 in March. These figures show an increase compared to 2023, when Indian tourist numbers stood at 61,122.
That was the great achievements until 2019 when the COVID broke. It was about 1.6 million visitors a year. Especially there was obviously domestic visitors. Then second one is the Indian. Then third like various Buddhist countries like Thailand, Sri Lanka, Myanmar, and China. After during the COVID there was very few visitors. Sometimes it was countable, but currently we have rapidly increasing the number of the visitors. When we talk about this, the 2023, the visitors, it's about 1.2 million we have. So now we have the outstanding the records from the the Indian visitors. Especially we have quality visitors from India these days.
The number of tourists from other parts of the world has also significantly increased at the birthplace of Gautam Buddha, known as the Light of Asia. According to LDT records, during the first quarter of 2024, 11,668 tourists arrived from Thailand, 8,986 from Sri Lanka, 6,915 from Myanmar, 2,155 from South Korea, and 2,419 from Vietnam, most of them crossing via border checkpoints from India. In comparison, the numbers in the first quarter of 2023 stood at 7,760 from Thailand, 5,158 from Sri Lanka, 4,342 from Myanmar, 2,911 from Vietnam, 2,885 from South Korea, and 369 from China.
जहाँ पे जो बुद्धिस्ट गौतम बुद्ध उनका जो बर्थ प्लेस है इस नाम से वर्ल्ड में फेमस है और जैसा कि नेपाल एक छोटा सा कंट्री है और यहाँ पे इन्होंने जिस तरह से बुद्धिस्ट प्लेस को संभाल के रखा है और जिसका पूरे दुनिया में नाम चल रहा है कि लुम्बिनी में गौतम बुद्ध का जन्म हुआ था या फिर उनके सभी चीज़ों को यहाँ पे डेवलप हुआ है, उनकी वजह से सारे देशों ने यहाँ मिलके उनके चीज़ों को बढ़ाया है, इसलिए देखने की इच्छा थी, इसलिए हम यहाँ आ गए.
The Maya Devi temple in the heart of Lumbini is a major attraction for tourists. It houses the marker stone, the nativity sculpture, and the structural ruins associated with the birth of Lord Sakyamuni Buddha. The marker stone identifies the exact birthplace, while the nativity sculpture depicts the birth scene of Prince Siddhartha.
Now it's time for me to wrap up today's episode. We'll be back next week at the same time. This is Shivangi Mishra signing off on behalf of the entire production team of South Asia Today. Goodbye and take care.